My wife gave me a $5,000 bill for her girls' getaway hotel, saying, "You handle it." I'm the view. I agreed. That sounds fair. Then I called the hotel, canceled her reservation, and used the refund to book myself a first-class ticket to Vegas. She discovered it when the front desk rejected her card. I'm 33, male, and work in logistics, focused on efficiently moving things from point A to point B within budget. I'm practical, methodical, and fond of spreadsheets. My wife, Thea, 31, is the opposite. She describes herself as an athlete, enjoying the finer things in life. She's an influencer, but more in the sense of buying pricey items and taking photos rather than getting paid for posts. We've been married for 4 years. The first 2 were fine until she met Karen. Karen, 32, is Thea's best friend, married to a venture capitalist who seemingly showers her with money. Karen's lifestyle became Thea's model. Suddenly, our budget, which I viewed primarily as covering our mortgage and bills, was now also for bi-weekly beauty treatments, facials, fillers, manicures, $700 handbags, and brunches with $30 cocktails. I tried to reason with her. "Thea, we can't spend this way. We're $2,000 over budget this month." She dismissed me, saying, "Julian, you can't put a price on self-care. It's an investment." I was exhausted from hearing this. Then came her annual girls' trip. Last year was a spa weekend costing $1,500. This year, she and Karen decided to go big. On Tuesday night, she barged into my home office while I was dealing with a shipping issue. "Babe, I need the Amex. You have your authorized user card." "What's wrong with it?" I asked, not looking up. "I need to pay the hotel balance for the trip. It's due tomorrow." "How much?" I inquired. She slid an invoice from Azure Cove Villas onto my desk. My heart sank as I read. Final balance due $5,128.50. I stopped typing and looked at her. She wore a silk robe, giving me a look that said, "Why are you bothering me with details?" $5,000? I repeated. "It's for the 4-night oceanfront suite. Karen is getting the junior suite, so I need the oceanfront for the photos." My voice was dangerously calm. "Thea, this exceeds our mortgage. We can't afford it." She sighed dramatically. "Julian, stop being so practical. It's an experience, not just a hotel. I'll be networking. Plus, Karen's husband is covering her flights. You just have to pay for the hotel. So I'm responsible for $5,000? Her tone was condescending as she touched my shoulder. "You pay for it. I'm the view. I have to be seen, Julian. That's part of the deal." Something inside me chilled. All the resentment from working overtime to support her lifestyle, the humiliation of my card being declined at a team dinner because of a $1,200 coat I didn't know about, it all clicked. She didn't see a partner. She saw a service provider. I glanced at her perfectly done lips, flawless skin, and the $400 robe she wore at home, and I smiled. "You know what, Thea? You're right. That's fair." Her face brightened. "See, I knew you'd understand. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of the invoice." I sat there for a moment, then picked up the phone to call Azure Cove Villas. "Hi, I need to cancel reservation number 882GF. After confirming my details, I asked about the cancellation policy. "You're within our 72-hour window and eligible for a full refund," they said. "Please cancel it immediately." I explained it was due to a change of plans. The view is no longer available. The $5,285.50 refund would process in 3 to 5 business days. My job is logistics, point A to point B. Point A was me, tired, broke, and disrespected in my own home. Point B was anywhere else. I opened a new browser tab, booked a first-class, nonstop flight to Vegas for Friday morning, the same day her trip began, and a high-floor suite in a nice hotel on the Strip. Total cost: $2,800 for the flight and $650 for the room. My own experience cost me $450, a bargain. I charged it all to the Amex. For the next 2 days, I played the supportive husband. "Are you all packed, babe? Don't forget your sunscreen." She was thrilled, taking selfies of her packing, which included 3 new swimsuits. I knew I'd see those on the next credit card statement. On Friday, she had an 8 a.m. flight. Mine was at 11 o'clock. I drove her to the airport at 6 a.m. "Have the best time," I said, kissing her cheek. "You deserve it." "I will. I'll try to text, but we'll be busy." "Don't wait up," she replied, grabbing her designer suitcase. I watched her walk through the automatic doors, then drove home to grab my own hidden bag and headed back to the same airport, different terminal. By 3 p.m., I was 30,000 feet up, sipping decent champagne and watching a movie. My phone was on airplane mode. I landed in Vegas, feeling lighter. I checked into my massive hotel room, ordered a ridiculous burger from room service, and took a nap. By 8 p.m., I dressed in a nice shirt she disliked for being too boring and went downstairs to a $50 blackjack table. I bought in for $1,000. I silenced my phone but kept it face up next to my drink, just in case. At 9:17 p.m., while deciding whether to split eights, the buzz of incoming calls began. Buzz. Missed call. Thea. Buzz. Missed call. Thea. Buzz. Buzz. The reservation is canceled. My card was declined. Fix this, Thea. They say I have no room. Karen is already checked in, and I'm stuck in the lobby. Julian, fix this. The dealer glanced at my phone and then at me. Busy night, I said with a smile. Hit me. I ignored her calls for another hour, won $400, cashed out, and moved to a different bar. Finally, I decided to answer. I let it ring twice before picking up. Julian, where are you? What did you do? Her rage was intense. I'm at a bar watching a game. What's up? What's up? I'm in the Azure Cove lobby. My reservation is gone, and my card is declined. You turned it off. I hadn't turned it off. The $5,128.50 charge, combined with my $4,450 Vegas trip, likely maxed out the AMX's credit limit. I didn't cancel it, Thea. I reallocated the luxury view budget. Turns out a $5,000 view is too rich for me. I opted for a $4,500 view of a craps table instead. Silence. I could hear Karen in the background asking, What? What's he saying? You're in Vegas? Thea's voice dropped to a low hiss. I am. My first-class flight was lovely. Thanks for asking. My suite is great. You stole my vacation money. You stole my trip. You did this to humiliate me. No, Thea. I did this to protect myself. You handed me a $5,000 bill and said to pay it because I'm lucky to have you as a view. That's not a partnership. That's a transaction. I'm declining the charges. Karen had to put a standard room on her card. A standard room. It costs $1,200 a night. You owe her $4,800. I couldn't help but laugh. No, Thea. I owe Karen because you two have champagne tastes on my beer budget. No, that's your bill. You're a big girl. Figure it out. You wanted to be maintained? Go find a new maintenance guy. I hung up and did something satisfying I hadn't done in 4 years. I opened my AMX app, found Thea's authorized user card, and froze it. Then I texted her. Since you're now charging $1,200 a night to your friend, I assumed you didn't need my card anymore. Enjoy your trip. I blocked her number. I had a fantastic weekend in Vegas, seeing a show, enjoying a $200 steak, and sleeping soundly for the first time in years. When I returned home Sunday night, I felt nervous, half expecting her to be waiting for me. The apartment was dark. When I walked in, my heart sank. She had been there. It was a rage fit. Cushions were slashed, framed posters ripped from the walls, and a bottle of red wine smashed against the kitchen backsplash. It was violent, but what struck me most was my vintage Comet pinball machine. I'd owned it for 10 years and restored it myself. It was my pride. She had always called it tacky and clutter, and now the beautiful painted back glass was shattered. She hadn't just cracked it, she'd caved it in with one of my dumbbells. I stood there, feeling empty and foolish. This wasn't about money or a trip. It was about her hating me and wanting to erase my existence. I stood there for 20 minutes, then pulled out my phone. First, I called a 24-hour locksmith. Second, I called my brother Mark, who's a divorce lawyer. Mark, it's Julian. I need to file tomorrow and want to know how to get a restraining order. It's been a long, difficult month, but I'm still here. The pinball machine is still in pieces, but the rest of my life is less so. Mark, to put it mildly, is a shark and was furious when he saw the photos of the destruction, especially the pinball machine. The day after I returned, we filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences, domestic vandalism, and financial dissipation. A judge granted an emergency temporary restraining order, keeping her 100 yards away from me and the apartment, which is solely in my name, purchased before we married. The fallout was swift. She was served at her parents' house, where she had been staying. Then the calls began, not from her, but from her mother, Celeste. Celeste is Thea 2.0, the original model. She left me 19 voicemails in one day, all saved. Julian, you turned off this paper. You've humiliated my daughter. She's a wreck. She had to pay Karen back with my money. Do you understand how this looks for me? You owe me $4,800. You locked her out of her home, canceled her cards. That's abuse, Julian. We're going to sue you. And what's this about a pinball game? You're ruining her life over a toy. My God, grow up and take care of your wife. This entitlement was generational. I never responded. Mark handled everything, sending a cease and desist letter to Celeste and arranging a civil standby for Thea to collect her belongings. That was a scene. 2 police officers, Thea and Celeste. Mark advised me to stay in the back room. I overheard it all. Thea sobbing, but it sounded fake. Officer, he's keeping my things, my designer bags, my shoes. Ma'am, we're here to retrieve your personal property, clothes and toiletries. We're not here to mediate your divorce. This is all his fault. He abandoned her. He stole her vacation. Ma'am, please wait by the elevator. You're interfering. I heard them dragging suitcases, then Thea shrieked. My white Dutch oven. That's mine, Julian. I couldn't help myself. Thea, I bought that for me 2 years ago with my bonus. You've never used it. It was part of my kitchen's aesthetic. You're just a thief. The officer glanced at me and then at her. Ma'am, if it's not your clothing or personal effects, it's a civil matter for the divorce. You need to leave the pot. I had never seen someone so outraged over cookware. They finally left. The apartment felt clean, even with the red wine stain on the grout. The mediation meeting was the main event. We sat in a sterile conference room. Me, Mark, Thea, and her lawyer, a slick guy who looked like he was melting. Her lawyer began. My client is, of course, devastated by this breakdown. She's ready to be reasonable, requesting exclusive use of the marital apartment, $8,000 a month in temporary spousal support, $25,000 for emotional distress and public humiliation due to the canceled vacation, and forgiveness of all her credit card debt. I almost choked. Mark just smiled, sliding a folder across the table. This is our offer. It was a dollar amount. Her lawyer scoffed. That's not a serious offer. It's dead serious, Mark replied. Your client is an authorized user on my client's credit cards, which she has systematically abused to the tune of $114,000 over 48 months. Not including the $5,128.50 she demanded for her non-essential trip. He slid the AMX statements across, all highlighted. Moreover, your client admitted her view of this marriage is a deal where she is a view to be maintained. That counselor is not a marriage. It's a bad faith contract, which my client is terminating. Thea finally spoke. I supported him. I managed the household. I gave him the best years of my life. I am the view. You owe me. I just looked at her. Thea, the view is currently unemployed by choice and needs to vacate my apartment. You owe me for the pinball machine. I slid the estimate across, a $1,950 quote for a new back glass, and included the police report for the domestic vandalism. We are prepared to press criminal charges if this mediation isn't productive, Mark added. Thea's lawyer turned pale, glancing at her. She stared at the pinball estimate in disbelief. She broke down, crying, not for me or the marriage, but for the money for the view. She realized the ATM was permanently closed. It's done, she signed. The divorce was finalized last week, fast and brutal. She's living with her parents. I heard through the grapevine that Karen is suing Thea in small claims court for the $4,800. Her best friend wasn't willing to cover her entitlement either. I lost a lot of money. The divorce was costly, the Vegas trip was pricey, and the apartment was a mess. But I'm free. The wine stain is gone. I found a replacement back glass online for my pinball machine. It's on its way. Now it's quiet in my apartment. I'm just listening to a podcast and balancing my own budget. It turns out the best view in the world is a credit card statement with a zero balance.